Hello, my name is Teresa Ramirez. I have asked todo poder al pueblo colectivo to give me this opportunity to speak in reference to the death of my son, Robert Ramirez. Oxnard police killed him on June 23rd of 2012. I have done many news conferences, but unfortunately, not everything that I say gets posted or said. Only pieces of my statements get done. And I want to have the opportunity to ask for somebody to do a real criminal investigation that, in reference to my son's death. When Robert was killed, all my family and I wanted was the truth and how he died. As the investigation ran by Mr. Bamium's office proceeded, we started to learn the truth about what happened to our son Robert. We learned that some friend of his called the police asking for Robert to get medical attention because of his reactions to the drug he had taken. Instead of receiving medical help, Robert was surrounded by police. Witnesses as far as 40 feet could tell that Robert was not armed. As he stood up, witnesses described the officers attacking my son. All of the evidence we are aware shows that Robert never threatened any officer, nor did he make any aggressive action towards the officers. Investigators working for Mr. Bamium examined Robert's body, and so did we. Right after he was released from the coroner's office, and we documented all the bruises all over Robert's face and on his body. The coroner stated clearly that my son's death was a homicide, that he was choked to death by officers restraining him. The coroner's opinion was consistent with the eyewitnesses who told the investigators and myself that they saw an officer choking my son. I have read comments from representatives of the Oxnard Police Department making claims that my son was not choked or beaten. A spokesperson for the department was even quoted in the paper saying that the Oxnard Police Department disagreed with the coroner's opinion. How could anybody in the community possibly have confidence in any investigation conducted by the department who denies the accounts of witnesses and claims the county coroner's medical opinion is wrong? Our community has lost confidence in the officers who are sworn to protect us. Mr. Bamium's investigators have contacted witnesses who are scared to come forward due to the fear of the Oxnard Police Department. Unfortunately, Robert is not the only resident to die at the hands of the Oxnard Police Department. He appears to be the first in series of people killed by Oxnard officers over the past 6 months. As a mother, I want justice for my son. And as a long life resident of the city of Oxnard, I want a police force that I can be proud and not a police force that I fear. Robert's death has been ruled a homicide, and Mr. Bamium has explained to me that it is a crime to use deadly force without justifications. And I want to know what justifications did these officers have to kill my son? And what justifications did these officers have to choke the life out of my son? On behalf of my son and my family, I am asking for independent law enforcement agency to investigate my son's death. The public has the right to know the names of the officers who choked my son to death. And a couple of days later, they were released. I have them on my shirt. They are still working, they're still patrolling our streets, and there are killers. And your son can be next. Your daughter, your neighbor, anyone who you love. Instead, our police department has always denied their actions. And according to the recent statements, the officers who choked my son to death is back on the street working. My son was killed, and nobody's doing nothing about it. His killers and the friends of his killers should not be the people investigating his death. Our family hopes that Robert's death will help end the culture of violence in the Oxnard Police Department. The culture will not end unless the community makes it clear that we will not accept a police department that covers up the crimes of their officers and allows killers to patrol our streets. I am confident that Mr. Bamiam and his office will hold the Oxnard Police Department responsible in the federal court's actions that they will soon file. However, we have no confidence that a civil judgment will stop the culture of violence within the Oxnard Police Department. An independent criminal investigation which can identify the officers who use violence without justification and can identify the predators and hold them responsible can be the first step in ending the repeated actions of violence committed by our officers. I am asking all those concerned in our Oxnard community to join me in this request. All of us must speak out and shed light on all of our dark times. We have to be a community in order to protect our families, friends, and neighbors. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Todo Poder al Pueblo, our wonderful cameraman. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. And everybody who has helped me and stood by me and my family since this happened. Please join us in stopping these and putting all these criminals behind bars. That's where they deserve. If you would have done it, you would have been behind bars. If this would have been your son, I would hope to God you would be right in my chair, speaking and asking for help. Don't let them continue. After my son, there has been 2 more. How many more are we going to sit here and take? They need to be put behind bars. Help us stop them. Thank you.
I know it might be painful. Can I have you read it just one more time? And I'm going to just move this camera on.